on there live, or this Hangout on there is live. So did pumped out a video earlier talking about how I hate the notion of being a team player, and I need to make some progress on the little app that I'm building. And but I don't feel motivated. But for whatever reason, I feel motivated to like record a video. So if I record a video as I'm like thinking out loud about building out this portal page, then like I don't know, I guess I killed two birds with one stone. I have one more video that kind of demonstrates my current understanding of functional programming in well a world that has side effects. And two, I don't know what my original point was. If I share my screen, sooner or later I'll share my screen. And so like supposedly my screen's being shared. So like I got this Xamarin app right here. This is just straight XAML, you know. So what I mean by straight XAML, I mean like if I do portal.xaml, come here, Willis, portal.xaml, then like this page right here is pretty much what's being reflected right here. But there's no like state behind this, you know, it's really not. Like all you see right here is just hard coded. Even this little thumbnail of some name, some first link. So what I really want to do is I need to sooner or later, I need to take this portal page.xaml right here and have a backing view model, right? What I mean by a backing view model is, well, for the binding context, if we're using Xamarin.Forms terminology, I need to create a view model that serves as the mediator between this actual page and the domain, right? So the user does some whatever action on the page, such as click a button or select an item within the list view. That page is going to basically forward that request to my view model, okay, aka mediator. That mediator is going to take the request and pretty much dispatch that over to the whatever relevant domain. And so I got the domain somewhere in here. The domain is profile. Do I have a portal in here? Oh, let me see. In my workflows, I have a editor module and I have a data sources module. And no, so I don't have a portal module, but I'm not going to focus on that domain right now. I'm going to focus on the actual view model, okay? So when I focus on the actual view model, what does that really mean? Well, if I go to this Nikeza mobile.ui, then, well, I have a folder called access, okay? And, well, no, that's not what I want. No, something's missing. Oh, yeah, that's UI. UI logic, come here. I have several folders that represent domains, access, profile, subscriptions, portfolio, access, profile, subscriptions, portfolio, right? One-to-one mapping. So within my UI logic, this is really my profile in which I'm going to add a portal.viewModel.fs file. So like if I do Control-Shift-A, that should be a shortcut key for adding a source file. And I should be able to like come over here and say portal.viewModel, yes, .fs file, yes. Okay, so I got where are you at? Come here, come here, come here, come here. Where are you at? I got this portal.viewModel.fs file, and well, it's pretty much empty, right? Now, what's the naming convention of how I do my namespace? So, naming convention of how I do my namespace is something like that up here. So maybe I should do the same thing over here. Yes. Okay. And so, but maybe I should just do something like that, and then I say type portal. Come here. and say equal. Okay. Now, more than likely, because this is a view model class, I'll probably have something like that in there, like type portal X, and then it's complaining about something. And so I'll just say, I don't know. How do you do this? You say member X dot foo, something like that, equals unit. Is that going to be happy? And it's still complaining about X. Oh yeah, because it says X isn't used. And that's an error because within my properties of this library, I treat errors as warnings. Of course, there's a issue. Oh, look at that bug. Look at that bug. Um, that's interesting. Anyway, I within my actual project file, I treat errors as warnings, and that's why I'm getting that error because X is not in use, in which X represents the instance of that view model that we call portal. Ugh. Okay, so oh, hold up, it is in use though. It's right here. What are you talking about? Um, I don't know. If I try to build, then we can figure out what happens. In the meantime, what else do I need to do? I could expand you. And so, oh yeah. So if we're building this portal page, but if you look at the UI, all right, you know what? We don't need you right now, so we're going to take you out. If we look at this again, what I basically want to do is I want to create a view model or translate it. I want to create the class that pretty much is responsible for representing for passing the states to my mobile application. When I say mobile application, specifically, I want to create a view model that's responsible for passing state to my page. Okay, why are you telling me you can't build? Build. Come on, don't act like that. So I got my emulator over here in the far right. You should build and you should, what the freak is going on, man? All right, so like, how do I do? The shortcut to the output window, I thought was control. The errors window is like control backslash E for error. The output window, I forget. Is it control alt O? Control alt O. So smart. Okay, so control alt O is a shortcut to view the output window. And there's a failure right here that's not really being exposed in my error window if I do control backslash E for error. Okay, and if I do control alt O for output, then I need to do a control find for error. Okay, and so over here it says that we have an error if I do a find within the output window, saying a module and a type definition named portal occurs, but it doesn't like it doesn't like this naming convention right here for whatever reason. So I could say portal, call this view model, which is probably what I wanted to call it. And hopefully if I could do Control Shift B, that should go away. Oh yeah. I thought I got rid of the X. No, not nah, whatever. What I really want to do is show this page. So if you build, yes, you build. If I run you, then I'm basically going to show this page that I want to basically pass state into, because right now this page has no state whatsoever. It's just a static page. We want to make this a dynamic page, right? So what I mean dynamic page is we want this page to actually load up with data that basically comes from, ultimately it's going to come from some IO, but your application shouldn't have to depend on the outside world in order for it to run. Your application should be able to run without a web server, without a database. Of course, that requires some engineering. Well, just like it requires some engineering when you connect a web server and a database. Okay, so anyway, so this is the portal page. and I want to start creating some properties on my view model, and whatever bootstrapping that I need to do on my view model to basically pass state so that this page can pretty much reflect or get initialized. And I don't know, requests from that page can be pretty much reflected as commands in my view model. And that stuff can get dispatched over to my domain. So like, for example, the first thing that jumps out at me is that, well, there's a profile image right here, but then there's a whole bunch of lists of images right here. That's probably going to represent like a news feed of people that you follow and the latest updates that they have, right? Nikeza is essentially, I don't feel like launching it. Nikeza is essentially a lot of things, but one of which is you're able to keep up with content providers. So basically, whether they publish a blog post, a video, they answer a question on Stack Overflow, they're on the podcast, whatever that they publish on the World Wide Web, you're able to follow that on this Nikeza. So I'm building the mobile app right there. The actual web application, which has some funky performance issues I'm too lazy to fix, is over here. So Nikeza.io, but it has some very sick um, performance issues. So like, sooner or later I'll get all that fixed. But this is like pretty much the landing page for the Nikeza web application. Yeah, so that's kind of what I want to model over here. Is the landing page is going to, that's something that that I forgot about, is in addition to the recent publishers of content that you subscribe to or that you follow, um, they'll probably, this is a mobile app though, maybe in horizontal orientation, like if you flip it like this, maybe there's enough real estate for me to actually show the actual topics that they basically are providing content on. Like for me, it's Xamarin, architecture, F sharp, WPF unit testing, these blue blocks next to my thumbnail on the Nikeza.io. So in horizontal orientation, maybe I'll do the same thing and then do the links, just like we have on this Nikeza.io web application right here. But in portrait mode, in portrait, no, that's the wrong way. In portrait mode, then I don't think I want to include topics on the portal page. I'll just include their links. So what we have is the actual user's profile image. We got some buttons over here, and then we have basically some provider items in which they're going to have some links associated to them as well. So, for example, this provider is some name, and he has a link called some first link, but there's probably going to be up to 3 or 4 links for each thumbnail. So, how does that really translate? Well, one is this member X foo is really going to be these are methods, right? So initialize or load. I'm not sure what naming convention I use. Hold up. Do I do load or initialize in my view models? Load member, no, that's a test. Well, that test is documentation, so I should be able to go over here. And I use the naming convention init. That's what I use, right? So member x.init, and then I do a query for members. Okay, that sounds like a good idea, you know. So I like this query. Oh, I'm so smart. All right. So anyway, go over here. we're going to follow the naming convention that I used in other view models. That was the members view model. And so I do a init method over here. And what I'm really going to be doing is this is going to basically query, which I haven't actually defined yet, my subscriptions, which are really query the people that I follow. Okay. And that's probably going to take, and why am I doing a dot notation? Query subscriptions, and that's probably going to take my user ID, something like that. Okay. None of this I have defined yet. Oh, yeah. So that is going to pretty much, how's this going to work? That's going to give me, let subscriptions equal that. Okay. And somewhere in here is going to, actually, I don't even have to do that. I could just say x dot subscriptions. Come here. Something like that equals query. Actually, I think I'm right. Query dot subscriptions and then user ID. Okay. So none of that is filled out yet, but something tells me I want to align the x's like this. So over here, I should be able to say member x dot subscriptions, something like that, equals something like that. Okay. Now that subscriptions is really going to be an observable collection because this is a view model. Let subscriptions equals you want to say observable collection, something like that. And do I want to do it like that? I don't know. I guess I could do it like that. Observable collection, and it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be something called a subscription. And subscription is not really known right now. And that is, I don't know if I define a description. Yeah, I'll define it up here. And then I'll pass it to my actual domain later. But like you do a type subscription equal, and then your subscription is going to have something like maybe a name. So you say name, and maybe that's of type string. Okay. And it'll probably have like a image URL. Okay. And that'll be of a string too. Somehow that image URL is going to need to be translated into a image source, but we can worry about that later. Okay. A different way of doing this is we could say subscriptions equals a, no, it doesn't like that, does it? Why not? I should be able to do this. Maybe not. All right, I'll take that back. So we have this, we have no clue what a query is, right? Query.descriptions. So that's something else I want to create. It's like type query equals, and I say something like subscriptions. Okay. That subscriptions is, I think the way this is going to work is this is really going to be like a function, right? It's going to be like a function that takes like, I wonder if I could do it like this. It's going to be a function that takes like a provider ID, and it's going to return, I need to put this down here. It's going to return a subscription list, something like this. Okay. That's what happens when we invoke this over here. Okay. And so we have that. And this is going to change a lot, right? But I mean, yeah. So like really all these types that I'm doing is going to be refactored and extracted to fit into the actual domain, which is going to be which is going to be in here somewhere. So for example, I'll probably create a file called design and throw a lot of this stuff in there. But there's going to be like a subscriptions type subscriptions function, okay? And that subscriptions function is pretty much going to be this right here, okay? And so we can say our query subscriptions is going to be our subscriptions function like that. And something like that, if I spelled it right. And oh yeah, we got to say over here, sooner or later, we're going to have a type called dependencies. And this dependencies is going to basically have a query of type query, and it's going to have a user ID, okay, of provider ID, something like that, okay. And it's probably going to have some other things, like implementation. Implementation is really focused on commands, I think. Anyway, so we have our view model in here. It's going to say dependencies of dependence. Come here. Dependency like that. And then there we can say let query equal dependencies dot query, something like that. Okay. And we can say let user ID equal dependencies dot user ID, something like that. Okay. So now the little red squigglies go away. OCD is taking over. There must be alignment. Yes. Okay. And then we could do something like that. All right. And Now what? Well, does this thing build? Uh, Let me go ahead and build it. Oh, who writes code on a Saturday night? Oh, I should be like taking my nap. All right, so hopefully this builds. Build, 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 build. Build, and you build. Now, what's the intent? Well, okay, so we got the stuff in here. I could probably take this subscription out. I'm not even using it. Yeah, I'm referencing it down here. But I could probably start doing a little bit of refactoring. And within my profile domain, I can add a design.fs. Okay. And that design.fs. Good job. You show up in the very first part. All right. That design.fs. Um, Actually, I need to put in the right. It's nikeza.mobile.profile. Something like this. Design, maybe. What's the naming convention for my other stuff? Yeah, okay. So that looks fine. And so go ahead and I want to take these two types right here and I want to lift it up into this over here. Okay. Now, doesn't know what a provider ID is. Open the Nikeza.comment. Okay, that right there. Yeah. And so now what I want to do is I want to say open Nikeza.mobile dot profile dot design bendejo. Yes. All right. So I got that. Now what? Well, this user ID, query subscriptions function has issues. It says it takes a provider ID. Okay. So how does this work? Do I say how does this work? Is it get text or something like that? Is it get ID? I don't know how this works. Let me see how I do this in other places. Profile ID is what I'm using. And I just take that and I do it to a string over there. Okay. So something like that. And this is supposed to be a profile ID. And subscriptions. Why is this not being recognized? Over here, profile ID, something like that. Now it's still going to be a string. I forgot what utility I use. Yeah, this doesn't seem right. So type expecting a profile ID, returns profile ID, but boom, 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 boom. Okay. And if I want to be cool, then I'm supposed to do this. Oh, what the freak? Why aren't you working? Come here. This should query subscriptions. That should work. Hold up. You're saying that this is okay. All right, whatever. I'm not going to figure out why I got a compiler for that. This subscription is the backing for this over here. And if I want to really do that the right way, then I can follow the conventions over here. And actually, I'm sure that there's a platforms over here. I could do something like this, and I can. How do we do that? Do something like this. Okay, and then I could say subscriptions like that, and bring it back over here, something like that. And oh yeah, this is a view model. This view model is supposed to inherit base view model. Inherit base. What is it called? View model base. View model base. Something like that. How do I do it? If I go up here, inherit view model base. I need to have it as a constructor, and then that right there. Okay. And what else is it going to complain about? Subscriptions. Well, the subscription is mutable. All right. Okay. So that looks fine, right? Because that matches up with what we have over here. Yeah. All right. So then now what? Well, if we do that, then that means we have to do our mutable assignment like that. And now it's going to complain to say that we're expecting a observable collection, but we're doing a list. Okay. And so you're right. So this query.subscriptions is supposed to that's fine. What we really want to do is we want to basically, how do you want to do this? You want to say like something like this. You want to say like observable collection, and then you just within a constructor you could do something like that. Now that doesn't well, that's supposed to work. Initializes a new instance, whatever. It says we expect it to have type collections.generic lists subscription. Boom, but here it has boom. Okay, so how did I do this over here? Over here, I did query platforms is boom, string p. Oh, oh yeah, I need to do something like that. And it's going to say I need some other things as well. This is actually the way I probably should do it. Do that. be consistent with the elegant code that I wrote in the first place. Something like that. Something like that. And this is query subscriptions is going to return a result of OK or error. That is going to take the user ID, okay? But I need to fix how we process this. The subscriptions function, absolutely right, is going to return a result, okay, of successful, a subscription list. Else is going to, what should it return? It? Well, I guess a string for right now, representing an error message. Okay. Actually, how did I define it over here? For the platforms function, yeah. For error, it just returns a string. And so now over here, that looks okay. This is going to complain about the initializes a new instance of whatever. It says subscription list is not compatible with a collection generic list string. Oh yeah, because you're supposed to be subscription. Here. Supposed to look like that. And you're still going to complain. System that who said that this is a list? Oh, get rid of this over here. Push you back over here. Okay. And this subscription over here is observable collection of subscription. Yeah, I don't. For one thing, we should probably update the naming convention and call that subscriptions. Subscriptions like that. In regards to over here, yeah, I'm not sure what that's a list. Okay, let me go back to what I did back here. Over here, P was a string list, and we assigned it to, yeah, that looks fine. So I'm not sure what subscriptions, yeah, I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. Expression was expected to have type system.collection.generic list.subscription. It's saying it's saying that it's expecting a function in here somewhere. Oh shoot, hold up. I'm supposed to do that right there? So smart. Okay, so put that right there. Does everything still build? You, my friend, I kind of feel like you should like be indented like maybe a character like that, you know? Let me see. How are you done? Yeah, you're indented one character over like that. Okay, yeah. So Go back over here. Everything is green. Everything builds. And so when we call the init, while we're bootstrapping this view model, this portal view model, it's going to basically query subscriptions, passing in the user ID of the person that's logged in of this portal page. And the result of that is going to be either be okay or error. If it is okay, then we are going to take the payload that's attached to our OK, which is the subscriptions response, and we're going to assign that to our subscriptions property. That's basically going to be reflected on the page of the people that have the news feed, right, or the news feed that we're subscribing to from the various members that we're following. This error on both of these should really be logged or something. So like, for example, right here, we should really say at the bare minimal, it should be logged. But if it's an error, we should really, yeah, I need to handle this over here. What we should really do is we should take advantage of the app logic side effects. So if it's an error, then we definitely need to navigate to an error page. Well, we don't definitely, but one thing that we can do is we can navigate to an error page, but we definitely need to log it. Currently, there's something bubbling in my mind because I'm not sure if this query, it's a function, right? But it's not I don't think it's a total function. Like, it's not guaranteed to return the result that we want. You know, this relies on the outside world. So what's going on in my mind right now is a design issue, I think, with the way I currently have things, where this query function or this query subscriptions function, I think, well, it relies on side effects because it's relying on IO. And so my thought process is that just like in my login view model, I rely on side effects for a login attempt. And if that login failed, then I add a function called on authentication failed, and I add that to my side effects, right? And basically the application within app logic is going to, for example, for handle login, it's going to handle the response of a login attempt. And it's going to basically, how does this work? It's going to basically perform some behaviors as a result of if it's logged in or if it failed to connect, or in this case, if it failed to authenticate, it does nothing. The app logic does nothing, but our view model for login, if it failed to authenticate, then it actually mutates the authentication failed property of that view model so that it gets reflected in the page through some type of UI experience. So my thought process is that this query is not a pure function. this query also relies on side effects because it's relying on I/O. And so this query, if I go back to my portal view model, should not have this logic right here, but instead it should just kind of like just have this. And what that's going to do, once I put in the necessary plumbing, is because this is going to rely on side effects, I will create a type up here, like type side effects, like that. And I would have something like, I guess I got to have the equal sign in here. And I would have to say something like for query subscriptions, something like that. And that is actually going to be, how does this work? The side effects is going to be a list of functions, right? So this is giving an opportunity for different concerns of the system or different components of the system to react to the side effect of querying for subscriptions, whether it's successful or whether there's an error. We're giving opportunities for other observers within the system to handle that. And so these observers are actually registering their handlers. And so what that really looks like is, what does that really look like? You're going to have like we need to go into our event, and just like we have a query topics field, we need to have a query subscriptions field as well. Query need to have a query subscriptions event. Okay. And that is going to be a query subscriptions field. Or it's going to be succeeded, something like that. Not sure of the exact naming conventions that I should use. What did I do for, oh yeah, this needs to have an equal sign. For login, how did I do the conventions? For events, login, failed to log in. Okay, no, me kill you. Where are you at? So for this, I'm just gonna leave it like this for right now. This needs to be fixed, I think, but I'm gonna worry about that, or I'm gonna defer that until I'm finally confronted with it. So what's going to happen is it's going to look something like we have a query subscriptions event, and how does this work? We have a query subscriptions event list that as input that ultimately returns the unit because it's just a side effect. We need to build so it's aware of this over here, which you should be. In the case of mobile.profile events is what we need to import. Open. And something like that. And so this right here probably needs to go into our design bucket. I'm not sure what I want to name this though. So that's our subscriptions function for actually doing a query, which is going to be either success or error based on IO. But yeah, like if I do it that way, then why this is something tells me that I don't need this over here if I already have this right here. So this is something I'm going to have to like marinate on. This is going to be really a result. If you query something, what are the events, right? Let me try to do a event storm. If you query, then you're basically relying on IO. If you're relying on IO, you're going to have success or you're going to have an error. Okay. If you have success, then what does that really mean? Well, if you have success, then you have a response of what? Well, you have a response of, in this context, subscriptions. Well, do you have to have subscriptions at all? Well, it could be an empty list of subscriptions. Is that valid? Yes. Or you could have one or more subscriptions, which is kind of expected. So basically, you can have 0 or more subscriptions for success, or you can have an error. In that case, this subscription list for the result type being okay makes sense. Yeah, I think I want to use this. So if we go over here, it's kind of like that right there. That I think that's making sense. Okay. And basically within the app logic, I need to add some handlers for this. And so within app logic, I need to have a handle portal file in here, which I'm not gonna spend the time right now to do that. I'll probably do it in the morning, but like handle portal, something like that. And that handle portal, can I move you up? Right there, I think is a good spot. That handle portal is going to it's going to be interesting. I'm not going to fill it out right now. All right. But how does this look? Oh, shoot. Come here. We call query the this dependencies is going to have side effects. Side effects. Something like that. Okay. Come here. Something like that. Okay. There must be order. Something like that. Oh, come here. Oh, yeah. Come here. Something like that. Okay. There must be order. Things must align. Okay. And somewhere in here, we would probably have a handler like let I don't know what this would be called. Let foo equal, and you're basically going to say like imagine like these side effects already exist, and we're just appending another side effect to here, right? And so we say let something, like some function, some handler. Okay, let query response, or let handle query response equal. Okay, and this is going to I don't know how to do this. How's this going to work? This handle query response is going to basically update the results of this query down here. But in order for it to do that, then it's going to basically receive a response from the query that we did, which is based on that IL. We should call it results. Okay. That result is really this right here. And so you want to say something like, "Oh, come here, Willis." What you want to say is, you want to say, well, if that's already like that, well, forget it. We could say match results with, and then you could say okay, and you have subscriptions. Then you can say x dot subscriptions, which it doesn't know about yet, is observable collection subscription, and then you pass in subscriptions, something like that. Okay. We already have subscriptions down here, so we'll just call this result. Okay. God damn it! But results up here. Call it X, whatever. All right. So something like that, and then if it's an error, then there's a reason behind it, and we would log that reason somewhere. We would I don't know, we could say debug dot write line failed to retrieve subscriptions using user ID, and then you say some like, I don't know, whatever. Like that. Okay. And then you can probably do something like this, something like this again, and then you just do the reason. And then you just do a reason, something like that. Now, we have this view model as X. I didn't mean to do that, as X. Still doesn't recognize subscriptions. Why don't you recognize subscriptions now? Still don't know what this use is for side effects over here. I'll figure it out sooner or later. This x.subscription should be recognized. We need to move you up here. No, because you're the backing member. Shoot. You're the backing member, so I guess it's okay for you to be here. Because you're backing this over here. Now, you over here, you should just work. X.subscriptions says subscriptions is not defined. Shoot. Control Alt O. No, come here. Control \E. And I want to pin you down. And the field constructor member subscriptions is not defined. Well, hell's bells. I have you referenced up here as X. So what is X over here? Oh shoot. What do you want to call this? Call it I don't know. Call it something. And we do something over here. And the compiler should be happy. Okay. Now what we really want is okay to have everything builds, and then we could say subscriptions at a apostrophe. Oh, come on, Willis. We could do subscriptions at apostrophe like that, and that should be okay. Okay. And then we should be able to get rid of this over here. Okay. And then if you really want to be cool, then you do this, you get rid of that, and you get rid of this, and you just say function. Because that's what cool people do. Okay. Now handle query response does that. And so we wrote this function, and what we want to do is we want to basically, how's this going to work? We want to say let somehow we want to say let updated side effects equal side effects with, and then you say for subscriptions query equal, and then you can say, how does this work? Side effects dot for subscriptions query, which is a list. Is this a list? This results should be a list of oh shoot. This should be, how am I supposed to do this? This is supposed to be a function that takes a result and spits out a unit. Okay. This really should be a list. Okay. Something like that. Do something like that. Okay. Because it's a list of functions or a list of responses that each observer can register. So if we go back over here, we should be able to take this handle response, and we should be able to set that as the head of this list, or append it as an item of this list. So we should be able to do something like this. And of course, you don't like that, do you? No, you don't like that. It says subscriptions list is not compatible with some generic list. This is supposed to be list. This handle response is this is getting crazy. This handle response is supposed to just take a result. I'm going to tap out. I'm going to look at this tomorrow. And I'm going to kill this, and I'm done. So stop broadcast. And stop this.